Yeah, a couple teams left here. We'll start with Utah State, Mitch. Bronco Mendenhall, year one. I'd say a success,
Yeah.
especially on the offensive side of the ball. Get to a bowl game, which is always huge. They have a familiar face coming back at quarterback, so I think let's start there and tell me the prognosis of that position and if it's going to work out for them.
Yeah, Utah State could be another fun half team. This is a squad that I don't totally know what I'm going to get from week one to rivalry week, but I do trust Bronco Mendenhall. And to see what he did last year, he's known for developing programs. I like the direction that the Aggies are headed in. McKay Hillstad is the new old face. He was at Utah State, transferred out to BYU, didn't get to play out there for the Cougars, so he's coming back. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna get. He hasn't played meaningful snaps since 2023. So Utah State had a top 50 passing offense a year ago. Bronco Mendenhall loves to take veteran quarterbacks and turn them into high producing machines. So maybe that happens for Utah State this year. It's kind of hard to project that, but could be a really fun season in Logan if it all works out.
Sorry, I was stuck on mute there. Um, the defense is the problem, though. And
Yeah.
that's going to need to be fixed. What have they done this offseason to try to address that? Because last year, for every point they were giving up, essentially, or point they were scoring, essentially, they were also giving up a point.
Yeah, it was a it was a parts in parts out situation where the balance sheet did not match at the end. I think we gave out a few more dollars than what we had come in. The defense and the offensive line were the two position groups that, or side of the ball in defense, position group and offensive line, that they went to work to try and fix. The offensive line, 129th in the country in sacks last year. They gave up 42 sacks a season ago. So Seth Wilfred from Auburn, John Randall Jr. from Purdue, two of the names coming in, hopefully can fix that. To answer your question on the defense couldn't be worse than it was last year. That is the headline for optimism. Is it probably isn't going to be worse than what you suffered through in 2025. Nick Howell comes back as a defensive coordinator. I'm sure that could not have been a very comfortable season for him. But he is known for his meticulous attention to details, a former linebacker in his own right. And he brought in some names that you're going to know. Harrison Taggart, nice linebacker, comes over from Cal. Jeremiah Holmes is a guy from the FCS level at the Citadel who should have plenty of opportunity to shine. They bring in some really nice athletes on the back end as well. Chapman Lewis comes in from Texas Tech. David Kabongo from Oklahoma State. I remember him from our Oklahoma State preview last season. So they've got some kind of supreme athletes, some really talented kids in the back end of that safety room. Can they put it all together? That's the question. I think this team should score some points. I just don't know if they're going to be able to stop anybody, unlike or similar to how they were unable to stop teams last year. Even a marginal improvement in that regard probably isn't good enough to have Utah State a real contender in the Pac-12. So I think we're going to have to see some pretty miraculous stuff. Some healing hands, I think, is what Nick Howell is hoping for in 2026.
The schedule does not do them any favors, to put it kindly. They have road non-conference games at Washington and at Utah. They go to Boise State. They double up on the Broncos in that flex game. To Texas State, to San Diego State, to Oregon State. Where's the cause for optimism on the schedule? Because I am struggling to find it.
Probably racking up a lot of frequent flyer miles. It feels like this team is on the road all season long. You mentioned Washington and Utah. They're at Boise to open up the conference slate off the bye week. They're at Texas State. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a slog for sure. I think probably they're going to have to show that they can play a little bit more complete of football and catch somebody off guard, right? Maybe it's winning against Colorado State at home. Maybe it's catching a San Diego State or an Oregon State late in the season off guard on the road. Those are the things that I think I'm looking for Utah State with their cow helmets this season, which I'll say are growing on me just a little bit. Didn't necessarily understand it early on, but maybe growing on me a little bit. probably another team that you're going to have to get in fits and spurts, because I just don't know if they're going to be able to string multiple games together if that defense doesn't step up.